Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. These are 11 important questions from Unit 2 Sale of Good Act, so let's get started. Q1. Define contract of sale of goods. Explain its features. Definition. A contract of sale of goods is a legal agreement where the seller transfers or agrees to transfer the ownership of goods to the buyer for a price. This is defined under Section 4(1) of the Sale of Goods Act, 1930. Section 4(1). A contract of sale of goods is a contract whereby the seller transfers or agrees to transfer the property and goods to the buyer for a price. The contract may be absolute, outright sale, or conditional, dependent on some condition being fulfilled. Essential elements of a contract of sale. 1. Two parties, seller and buyer. A valid contract of sale must involve two different persons. The seller is the person who transfers goods, and the buyer is the one who buys them. Example, if A sells his mobile to B, A is the seller, and B is the buyer. 2. Transfer of property, ownership. The main purpose is to transfer the ownership, not just possession. If A lends his bike to B, it is not a sale because ownership is not transferred. 3. Goods. The subject of the contract must be goods as defined in the Act. Goods mean every kind of movable property, except money and actionable claims. 4. Price. There must be a price, which means money consideration. 5. Voluntary agreement. Both parties must enter the agreement voluntarily, with free consent, without fraud or pressure. Types of contract of sale. 1. Sale, present transfer. If the ownership of goods is immediately transferred from seller to buyer, it is called a sale. 2. Agreement to sell, future transfer. If the transfer of ownership is to take place at a future date or on fulfillment of a condition, it is called an agreement to sell. An agreement to sell becomes a sale when time passes or conditions are fulfilled. Example, A agrees to sell 100 bags of rice to B after harvest. This is an agreement to sell. 2. Explain briefly the rules for transfer of property in goods. 1. Ownership is transferred when both parties intend it. 2. In case of specific goods, ownership passes when the contract is made. 3. In case of unascertained goods, ownership passes when goods are identified and agreed upon. 4. Delivery must be complete for ownership to pass. 3. Explain about implied conditions and warranties. Implied conditions, important promises in the contract. Goods must match the description. Goods must be of merchantable quality. Goods must be fit for the purpose. Goods must match the sample shown. Implied warranties, minor promises. The buyer will enjoy peaceful possession. Goods are free from hidden charges. The seller has the right to sell. 4. Doctrine of caveat emptor. Meaning, let the buyer beware. The buyer must check the quality and condition of goods before buying. Exception, if the seller hides defects or the buyer tells the purpose. 5. Who is an unpaid seller? A seller is unpaid if 1. He hasn't received the full price. 2. He received a check or bill which was dishonored. 6. Sale by non-owner, auction sale. Sale by non-owner. Usually, only the owner can sell goods. But if someone sells with the owner's permission or authority, the sale is valid. Auction sale. Goods are sold to the highest bidder. Ownership passes when the auctioneer announces it by hammer or word. 7. Define, consumer, goods, services, unfair trade practices, restrictive trade practices. Consumer, a person who buys goods or hires services for personal use. Goods, physical items sold in the market. Services, any work or facility offered for a price, like electricity, banking. Unfair trade practice, false advertisements, misleading claims, fake discounts. Restrictive trade practice, forcing buyer to buy more items or creating artificial shortage. 8. Write about consumer protection councils. These councils create awareness about consumer rights. Central Council, for whole of India. State Council, for every state. District Council, for each district. They advise the government and spread consumer education. 9. Write about consumer redressal agencies. There are 3 levels of redressal. 1. District Commission, for claims up to 50 lakh rupees. 2. State Commission, For claims from 50 lakh rupees to 2 crore rupees. 3. National Commission. For claims above 2 crore rupees. They solve complaints and give compensation. 10. Types of goods. Rights of consumer, complaint, consumer dispute. Types of goods. 1. Existing goods, already in stock. 2. Future goods, to be made later. 3. Contingent goods, depends on future event. Rights of consumer. 1. Right to safety. 2. Right to be informed. 3. Right to choose. 4. Right to be heard. 5. Right to redress. 6. Right to consumer education. Complaint. A written allegation by a consumer for unfair practice or defect in goods, services. Consumer dispute. When the complaint is denied by the seller and taken to court or commission.